10 weight gain mistakes that kept me too skinny until I fixed them. If you've always been naturally skinny, gaining weight can feel impossible. No matter how much you eat, your body just won't cooperate. I made every mistake you can imagine. Skipping meals, too much cardio, not eating enough protein, and it kept me stuck at a weight I didn't want. In this video, I'm sharing the 10 biggest mistakes that held me back and exactly how I fixed them so you can finally build the curves, get stronger, and see real results without feeling frustrated. First point, I thought I was eating enough, but I wasn't. One of my biggest weight gain mistakes was thinking I was eating enough just because I felt full. I'd eat a meal or two, feel stuffed, and assume that meant my body was getting what it needed. But fullness doesn't always equal enough food. I realized I was skipping meals, eating small portions, and not being consistent day to day. Some days I'd eat more, other days barely anything, and that made it really hard for my body to gain weight. Weight gain needs consistency, not just random big meals throughout the day. Once I started actually paying attention to how often I was eating and making sure I didn't skip meals, things changed. I didn't force food or overeat, I just stopped accidentally undereating. I added simple snacks, made my meals a little bigger, and stayed consistent even on busy days. This wasn't about eating nonstop or being uncomfortable, it was about fueling my body properly every single day. When I fixed this, my weight finally started moving in the right direction. Second point, I relied too much on junk food. I made this mistake thinking that any food would help me gain weight. So I leaned way too hard on junk food. I'd eat chips, candy, and fast food and call it bulking, but my body never felt good and my progress stayed slow. I assumed eating more calories automatically meant results, but I learned that gaining weight isn't just about eating more, it's about eating better. When most of your diet lacks real nutrients, your body can't build muscle efficiently or recover properly. I constantly felt tired, bloated, and weak during workouts, which made training frustrating. Eventually, I realized I needed real meals, not just snacks. I started adding foods like rice, potatoes, eggs, chicken, yogurt, fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats into my diet. I still allowed myself treats, but they were no longer the foundation of what I ate each day. After making this change, my workouts felt stronger and more consistent. My recovery improved, and the weight I gained looked healthier instead of sloppy. This mistake taught me an important lesson. Quality matters just as much as quantity. Eating more only works when you're eating with purpose, balance, and care. It changed my mindset and nutrition forever. Third point, I didn't prioritize protein for a long time. I didn't take protein seriously at all. I assumed that as long as I was eating more food overall, I would naturally gain weight. What I didn't understand was that without enough protein, my body didn't have the building blocks it needed to create muscle. I was training hard in the gym, like pushing myself through workouts, but I wasn't supporting that effort with proper nutrition afterwards or before. Protein plays a huge role in repairing muscle and helping it grow, which is essential for healthy weight gain. When I finally started paying attention to it, everything changed. I began adding protein to every meal, and I noticed I wasn't constantly sore anymore. I felt stronger during workouts, recovered faster, and my body actually started to change shape instead of just feeling tired. This didn't mean drinking protein shakes all day long or obsessing over exact numbers. It was more about awareness and consistency. Eggs for breakfast, chicken or fish for lunch, and a solid protein source at dinner. Small, realistic changes made a big impact. Ignoring protein kept me stuck for a long time, but once I focused on it, my progress became steady and predictable. Fixing this mistake made gaining weight feel possible instead of frustrating. Fourth point, I did too much cardio. I used to believe that doing cardio all the time was necessary to be fit. I spent a lot of time running, doing long workouts, and burning a huge amount of energy without really thinking about how it affected my goal of gaining weight. For someone trying to put on weight, that much cardio can slow progress fast. If you're not maintaining weight already, doing cardio makes it worse. Cardio itself isn't bad, but too much of it can cancel out the extra calories you're already eating, especially if you are not eating enough afterwards. I noticed I was constantly hungry, always tired, and not gaining anything, even though I felt like I was working hard. In fact, I was losing it. It was frustrating because I thought I was doing everything right. Eventually, I realized my workouts weren't matching my goal. Once I cut back on long cardio sessions and focused more on strength training, my body finally started to respond. I still stayed active, but I stopped doing cardio every single day. Lifting weights helped me build muscle and actually keep the weight I was gaining instead of burning it off constantly. This mistake taught me that being active doesn't always mean doing more, it means doing what supports your goal. When weight gain is the goal, training should help build, not constantly burn. Reducing cardio and prioritizing strength made a huge difference for me. I'm not saying stop cardio overall, but just reduce it instead of having it every single day. You can still do cardio, but in a different way. So for example, you could do the Stairmaster because not only does that work your heart, but it does work your legs more. Fifth point, I didn't train with progress in mind. I made the mistake of going to the gym without a real plan. I would show up, do random workouts, switch exercises every session, and never track what I was lifting. I felt busy, but I wasn't actually making progress. Because I wasn't trying to get stronger in any measurable way, my body had no real reason to grow. Weight gain, especially muscle gain, depends on progress. That means gradually lifting heavier weights, doing more reps, or improving form over time. When nothing changes, your body stays the same. Once I realized this, I completely shifted how I trained. I started keeping my workouts simple and consistent, repeating the same main exercises so I could actually improve at them. I tracked my lifts and focused on small increases instead of chasing new exercises every week. This wasn't about lifting heavy just to impress anyone or rushing results. It was about steady, intentional growth for myself. When I stopped training randomly and started training with purpose, my body finally responded. This mistake taught me an important lesson. Effort by itself isn't enough. You can work hard, but without direction and consistency, that effort doesn't lead anywhere. Having a plan made all the difference. Sixth point, I ignored sleep and recovery. I used to stay up late scrolling on my phone and telling myself that sleep didn't matter that much. I thought as long as I trained hard and ate more, I would gain weight. What I didn't realize was that recovery is a huge part of the process, bigger than you think. Your body doesn't grow while you're lifting weights, it grows when you rest. When I wasn't sleeping enough, my workouts felt weaker, my motivation dropped, and my appetite was all over the place. I felt run down most days and couldn't understand why my progress was so slow. Once I finally made sleep a priority, things started to change. I had more energy during workouts, recovered faster between sessions, and my body responded better to food and training. This wasn't about being perfect or sleeping a certain number of hours every single night. It was just about being more aware and making better choices. Going to bed earlier, taking rest days seriously, and not overtraining helped more than I expected. Ignoring recovery kept me stuck longer than it should have. Learning to rest properly made weight gain feel healthier, more sustainable, and just overall much less frustrating. Seventh point, I let stress control my eating. Stress was one of the biggest reasons I struggled to gain weight, even though I didn't realize it at first. When I was stressed, everything else suffered, and I mean everything. I would forget to eat, lose my appetite completely, or skip meals without even noticing. My mind was always racing and my body felt like it was stuck in survival mode. Even when I wanted to gain weight, my habits didn't support it. Once I started paying attention, I noticed a clear pattern between stress and inconsistency. The more overwhelmed I felt, the less consistent I was with food, sleep, and training. Instead of forcing myself to eat more, I focused on managing stress better. I made simple changes like planning meals ahead of time so I didn't have to think about it, setting reminders to eat, and slowing down throughout the day. These small steps made eating feel easier instead of stressful. This mistake taught me that weight gain isn't just about food or workouts, it's also about the mindset. When my stress levels went down, my consistency went up, and once I became more consistent, progress finally followed. Managing stress made weight gain feel realistic instead of overwhelming. 8th point, I expected results too fast. I used to think weight gain would happen quickly, and when it didn't, I became so frustrated. I expected fast results, and when the scale didn't move the way I wanted, I assumed something was wrong with me and I would low-key give up. Because of that mindset, I would constantly change my plan, lose motivation, or even give up for a while. I didn't understand that healthy weight gain takes time. Just like building strength or improving any habit, once I finally accepted that progress is slow and gradual, the whole process became easier to manage. I stopped rushing and instead focused on small, consistent improvements each week. I paid attention to the things I could control, like eating regularly, training consistently, and recovering properly. This shift in mindset made a huge difference. Instead of feeling discouraged, I felt more confident and patient. This mistake was really about learning patience and trusting the process. When I stopped chasing fast results and unrealistic expectations, I finally started seeing real lasting progress. The changes weren't dramatic overnight, but they were meaningful. Over time, those small improvements added up and led to results I could actually maintain. Ninth point, I was inconsistent on weekends. I was only consistent throughout the week and not the weekends. From Monday to Friday, I would follow my plan closely and tell myself I was doing everything right. Then the weekend would come, my routine would just disappear and my eating would drop without me really thinking about it. That inconsistency completely canceled out the effort I was putting in during the whole week. Weight gain doesn't respond well to on and off effort. It needs the same level of consistency every day, not just when it's convenient. Once I noticed this pattern, I worked on treating weekends the same as weekdays when it came to eating enough. This didn't mean being overly strict or never enjoying myself when I went out with my friends. It just meant being more aware and making sure I didn't unintentionally undereat. Simple things like planning meals ahead or keeping easy food available helped a lot. Once my intake became more consistent throughout the entire week, my progress felt more stable and predictable. This mistake showed me that small gaps and inconsistency can slow everything down. Eating enough regularly made a bigger difference than trying to be perfect part of the time. 10th point, didn't trust the process. The last mistake I made was constantly doubting myself throughout the process. I overthought every small change, questioned whether I was doing things right, and compared my progress to other people's journey. Seeing others gain weight faster made me feel like I was behind or doing something wrong, and it honestly made my mindset so much worse. That mindset made everything harder than it needed to be. Instead of focusing on what my body needed, I focused on outside noise. Over time, I realized that comparison was stealing my confidence and motivation. Once I shifted my focus to my own body and stayed consistent with my habits, things started to feel easier. I stopped obsessing over short-term results and trusted the work I was putting in. Trusting the process didn't mean being careless or ignoring adjustments when needed. It meant staying committed even when progress felt slow or unexciting. This change in the mindset reduced stress and helped me stay consistent without eating, training, and recovery. Fixing this mental mistake had a bigger impact than any single meal plan or workout routine. When I stopped doubting myself and trusted my own pace, progress became more natural and sustainable. Confidence and consistency ended up being just as important as nutrition and training. If you found this video valuable, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more fitness and health related content specifically for us girls who want to achieve our dream body, mind, soul, and spirit. Stay consistent, stay confident, and I'll see you in the next one.